From time to time, we all find ourselves in a bit of a reading slump or a reading rut, as I like to call it. And I've been looking around on YouTube, on BookTube, especially recently, and it seems quite a few people are in said rut at the moment. So I thought about maybe doing a video on some slump busters or rut removers when it comes to pulling yourself out or dragging yourself out of a reading rut or slump. Hello everybody, welcome to and welcome back to my channel Book Time with Elvis, with me Mark, and once again I hope you're all doing very well. And I'd also like to again at the start of this video take the opportunity to thank my wonderful patrons for their support, and should you wish to join them, see the link below. So, are you in a reading slump? Have you been in a reading slump? Have you had to pull yourself out of a reading rut? What do you do in order to do that? Now, I think reading, like many things in life, means you have to revert to some form of comfort. So when life gets you down, a lot of people take to comfort eating or resorting to something that they know brings them joy, happiness, or lifts them up. And I think, of course, reading is no different. You want to go to known quantities by and large, or at least if you don't revisit old favorites in terms of books, you at least go to authors you know you can trust. You want to indulge in a little bit of so-called comfort reading. Now, I would love to know who your comfort authors are or what your comfort reading is. Please do let me know in the comments below. I am going to share with you some of my personal favorites when it comes to pulling me out of the quagmire that is a reading slump. Now, there's quite a few to go through actually. I've got quite a few that I like, but I've kind of split them into categories. So, you know, when I'm struggling, and I have been struggling recently, you know, and it's a shame because the two books I'm struggling to finish are excellent. Really good books, but my mind's just not in it, you know. And I was able to finish in the last video I talked about two Indian detective stories, books that I finished, and they helped. I mean, I got them done, I read through them quickly, and they're good fun. And certainly the second book I mentioned, The Tale of the Love Commandos by Tarquin Hall. Now, Tarquin Hall is definitely an author who I will visit in order to pull me out of a reading slump. His series, his Vishpuri series, is absolutely wonderful, cheerful, and a big pick-me-up. Now, he's not alone in the crime and mystery stakes. He's joined there by Harriet Steele, who writes a wonderful cozy mystery series set in 1920s, 1930s Ceylon, or Sri Lanka as it is known today, following the adventures of Detective Shanti De Silva and his English wife Jane, as he has to kind of negotiate his way through all the bureaucracy that is colonial Ceylon. And it has funny moments in it. It's probably more serious in some respects than Tarquin Hall's books, but there are definitely some whimsical moments and good fun. The historical crime series by C.J. Sampson, the Shard Lake series, is definitely another one. Now, the books are massive. Now, you might think perhaps a massive book is not the best thing to pull you out of a slump, but I'm not sure I agree, because a book is only as big as you think it is, if that makes sense. You know, there are many big books that are fast reads, and there are many short books that are long reads, right? And if you can read something like the Shard Lake series or a Shard Lake book, and especially if you've read it before and it's a known quantity, it can definitely pull you out, because you just get so immersed in the world. It's absolutely fantastic, his world of Tudor England and the world of Matthew Shard Lake. Following on with like kind of historical crime series, which are endlessly entertaining, there's the Marcus Corvinus series, following the misadventures of a amateur sleuth in ancient Rome by David Wishart. And there's Gary Corby's wonderful series, not particularly long, I think. Again, like the Vishpuri books, there's only 5 or 6 books out there, but they are, again, wonderful historical mysteries. And, you know, the history is fantastic, but the mysteries themselves are well thought out and really pull you in and pull you up from those kind of slumps. If you want something in the line of espionage, you can go down the route of David Downing's works. He wrote a great series, the John Russell, Effie Cohn Station series. Each book is named after a particular station in or around Germany. During the build-up, or the lead-up rather, to the Second World War. And it follows the Anglo-American journalist and his movie star girlfriend as they navigate their way through Nazi Germany. And of course, John le Carré. You can't go wrong, I think, with any of his books, particularly books in the Smiley series, George Smiley series. Again, you can read them again and again, and especially something like The Spy Who Came In From the Cold. It's a short work and it's sublime. And I think, again, something that will, not necessarily a happy book, but the story is so good that you can, put it away in no time and think, right, I've ticked something off my list. It wasn't particularly long, and it's kind of given me the impetus I need to get out of the so-called reading slump. Now, it'll be no surprise for you to know that often when I'm feeling like I can't get motivated to read, I will head back to old favorites in terms of books such as Robert Louis Stevenson's Treasure Island or Jerome K. Jerome's 3 Men in a Boat. But to be honest, if you were to take a punt and read something else by Jerome K. Jerome, Idle Thoughts of an Idle Fellow, for example, a collection of his whimsical essays, that will lift you up and again be something to help you out. And also anything pretty much by Robert Louis Stevenson will be a joy for you to read. The same goes for pretty much all the others that I'll mention in this segment. Arthur Conan Doyle, you may of course be familiar with his Sherlock Holmes stories, which again are a wonderful thing to read when you find yourself a bit stumped and need that extra motivation. You can go through those, but of course there's much more to Arthur Conan Doyle's repertoire than just Sherlock Holmes. You can check out The White Company, Sir Nigel, and his historical novels as well. Just like with Henry Rider Haggard, you can get lost in King Solomon's Mines or She, or any of his wonderful African adventure stories. P.G. Wodehouse, if you fancy a laugh, is definitely somebody who will help to get you over any kind of fall in your reading ability. Perhaps ability is not the right word. In your reading output, you can check out his Blandings series, or of course his Jeeves and Wooster series, but he wrote a lot of other things as well, which pretty much all of them again would be worth your time. Mark Twain is a good person, I think, to read. I've always enjoyed everything I've read by Mark Twain, and I know I can count on him. If you want something a bit more modern and funny, you can go to the works of Alexander McCall Smith, whether you want to read his Number 44 Scotland Street series or his Number 1 Ladies Detective Agency, a cozy mystery series set in Botswana. It's great fun, but my own personal favourite is his Portuguese Irregular Verb series, which follows the misadventures of German academics, a very tongue-in-cheek series. They're basically a collection of interconnected short stories following said German academics around. The series was actually started off as a bet between McCall Smith and a German academic, but I think it's a real gem. If you want something a bit modern again, you can go with the likes of Robert Harris by reading one of his earlier works, be it something like Fatherland, or Enigma or Archangel, or more recent ones which I really enjoyed, An Officer and a Spy, which is about the Dreyfus affair. It's brilliantly done. And Conclave, which is about the inner workings of the papal elections, which again was fantastic. Perhaps non-fiction is not something you think about when you think about comfort reading or slump busting reading, but for me there are definitely some wonderful non-fiction writers, mostly historians, who can help pull you out of slumps. Giles Milton, I've mentioned several times on this channel, writes wonderful and unusual works of narrative history from a range of different periods. William Dalrymple writes massive books on India, primarily history of the East India Company, the Mughal Empire, the Raj and that kind of stuff. But again, fantastic immersive history. Works by Mary Beard, if you fancy something a bit ancient. She's got a great sense of humour and tells a fantastic story. Bettany Hughes, again, if you like the ancient world and ancient history, that's extremely well written. And then a slight newcomer for me is Alex von Tunzelmann, who has written some, again, wonderfully fun and interesting history works, such as Indian Summer, where she writes about Gandhi, Mountbatten and Nehru, and it's again extremely well researched, well told. You get lost in it, and you know, sometimes when you get works of non-fiction that read like a novel, it's so much more special because you know, these things, these events actually happen. She wrote something called Real History, where she looks at history as it's depicted in the cinema, which is also very good. And then she wrote a book about the history of bringing down statues, which came out around the time of the whole statue disassembling during the Black Lives Matter movement. And if you want to check out and really escape and go into some travel writing, you can't go wrong really with Patrick Leigh Fermor and his series of books following his walk to Constantinople in the 1930s. That's fantastic. Anything by Eric Newby is also wonderful, his primary work probably being A Short Walk in the Hindu Kush. But there are, again, so many things, but I know these are authors I can return to. These are works I can return to time and time again. I never get sick of. And when I'm feeling in the dumps, then, you know, and I want to pull myself out of these slumps, then I know everything I've just mentioned is a definite slump buster. So there we go. Please let me know yours down below. And thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Do take care, everybody. Bye bye.